Hey everyone, it's Brento here. We're going to be playing Workers and Resources, Soviet Republic. This is episode 2. We're continuing from our initial setup where I kind of gave you an overview of the game, and I'm just going over the basics of the game for new viewers and people who might be interested in playing this game. It is one of my favorite games. It's a bit of like Satisfactory and City Skylines kind of mixed together. If you're not familiar with some of these newer games, go with SimCity, like a SimCity Deluxe, like SimCity on steroids. That's what this is. It's insane. This game is insane. We're basically going to build a simulated economy. So where we last left off, we renamed the city of Los Angeles. We found a good start location, and we found another nice spot in your city. And we figured, well, if that's going to be Los Angeles, this will be San Francisco. We've created Canada. We've created Mexico. I did that offline, actually. And, of course, we have China. China will be a big supplier of goods. This is our most socialist partner. We also set up our construction office. Vehicles on the way. Once the electrical grid's laid out, then we can start running the game. I tried once before at this realistic mode. This is realistic mode. And I went off the fiscal cliff in the first game. Okay, I ran it into the ground. I've learned my lessons, so we're going to be a lot cheaper in this game. We're not going to have our 2-lane freeways right off the bat. We're going to stick with gravel roads and just cheap. Like, I'm literally going to test if I can have garbage shipped in from these countries and make money out of it. Is that possible? I don't know. We'll find out. We have to plan for what happens in winter, because right now we're February 26th in the game, 1960, and we have until, I believe it's November 22nd, to have a heat plant built. If you don't have a heat plant built, I believe everyone dies. So that's a bit of an urgent project. This is why I've had the game paused for so long. So in the first game I played, the big mistake I made was I went with the small heat plant. That it just didn't. It served basically the game for like 5 years, and it wasn't enough. It was obviously that fast. Okay, so let's go with the big one here, and I think diagonal here would be pretty good. You got to factor in. We couldn't find coal on the map. We got no coal. There's none. There's quite a bit of oil. We found a good amount. We're good with oil. I think that just like real Los Angeles, there's a lot of secret oil in the city. But I think we're going to have to ship the coal in. So we got to keep in mind that we're going to need a line, like a train line probably. They're very picky. Like, you'll focus a lot of your time on things like, you click on the house here, how's the religious sympathy? This is why we chose these cities, because you need good churches in the game, and you can't build the churches. They're just there. They're in the game. You kind of got to build people want to live around the church because it makes them the happiest for the least amount of money. It's the best value. The quickest way to get electricity right away is just to import it. And if we don't finish this heat plant in time and we're too busy building an electrical generator, well, and winter hits, it's game over, right? So this is going to be the first high priority building. And I want to, this is more important than the other industry, the money making things on the market, because once everyone dies, everything dies. I don't know how well you can see that. You see that 3.5 health bars there? They're the environment pollution. So this thing, it burns coal. People don't like to live by it. The workers that work here, and I kind of made a bit of a mistake in my first playthrough. They lived a little close to the coal mine, and they had some my hospitals are very busy, and but in communism, it's not for profit, so therefore, it's not a good combo. If this is American with private healthcare system, and the only way you made money is leverage over people, then you would build this right in downtown, right? Doctors would be kings. In real communism, we've got to keep this out of town a little bit. From what I know in this game, the heat dissipates. Like the longer the line it has to go through to get the heat out to the house, the more energy it loses. So I don't want to be too far away. So this is kind of like the edge of it. I don't think we'll build anything past here. Okay, so we got our heating plant. The other part of the heating plant, we need a heat exchanger. I'm not sure if we're going to have any heat exchangers in this side of the city, but I do know we're going to have some on this side, and it's going to come from this plant. So this is going to be biased on this side in terms of the heat, right? I've been to LA twice, and I just remember the traffic's so bad. I parked the car once. Yeah, it's 10 lanes of traffic, and yet it was that bad. So if we put enough houses, we can totally recreate that here. That'll take some time. And we need heat first. So where's our first apartment? We'll probably build our first apartment complexes in this area, though. So one thing I like to do in this game is look for like the starting cities has like areas and unused spaces. So I guess, and just like when real socialism takes over, we're going to have to replan some of these cities. So the way to do it, like you wouldn't be fairly playing this game if you were to just start on an empty map. To practice it for reality, you need to look at what's existing and work with it. So with that in mind, I think, okay, and another thing with these heat exchangers is even though they cover a wide area, you don't want to, they have a limit to how much heat they can deliver. So they kind of want to overlap a little bit too. So it's better to have them covering multiple homes at once. I think even from the first playthrough, having two coverings of a home is a good idea. We should probably lay out where the mall is going to go, because I know the heat exchanger. It's going to go in here somewhere. The heat exchanger. I don't know where exactly, but this is how the economy works. Everything's linked. So we need, I think, a mall. Should we give them a big mall? Oh, it's so expensive. But I needed it in the end. And first I thought I'd get away with a small mall in my first playthrough, but I needed 3 malls in the end. If you're not familiar with the game and you don't know exactly how happiness works, people need to buy stuff too. They don't just... religion itself isn't enough. They need to buy clothing. They need to buy food. And they need booze. Because that kind of corrects for everything. Now, healthcare system, yeah, we'll worry about that later. The big shopping center. Okay, so this has storage for 35 tons of food, electronics. Well, that was another thing people need is electronics. And meat. I guess that's part of the satiated statistic. So these are the things that if people don't get this stuff, they get angry. And where's my... the meat goes slowly, the food goes fast. Now, just to compare, like if we go to like one of the small shopping center, it's like a factor of 3. So this big shopping mall is basically 3 shopping centers. It's only justified if you have enough people around it. So if we go with a big shopping center, we're going to have this whole thing dense residential, which we will. So, and I do like the idea of having it right there, because then we can keep it stocked fast. And that, I think that is a bit of a problem. In the previous game I played, I noticed it was emptying pretty quick. So my trucks were just regularly going in and out. So if we could even get like a train to drop off the goods, that would keep it like running at 100% non-stop. This will be where everyone lives, right? That's the main commune. The main commune in communism. They're also going to want alcohol, lots of vodka. 149 work days. This is 990. Why would you build a giant pub? This is insane. Who builds this? Is this a German thing? Okay, I think we'll go with the small one. And we'll put it near the church because that's the best place. Put it around here. We're gonna probably have to demolish one of these houses to make a footpath through here. But that's the cost of progress. Stalin wasn't that nice of a guy, you know. I'm surprised I haven't screwed as much stuff up. Normally I screw up more than this. So it'd be nice to see, look at this, look at that. It goes right behind the pub. This is a sneaky way you want to get your little late night beverage. This is how you get to this sneaky place. Oh shoot, yeah, we're gonna have to build a... I can't go directly in here. So the reason I'm doing this now is because we've got to get back on track, got to get back onto the heat plant. And I found that the heat plants work best in areas where like you're kind of inland a little bit, like a little so yeah, we'll go there for now, but eventually I think we're going to bulldoze something. So we have our alcohol, we're going to have our mall soon, and now we have this zone here that doesn't do anything. Or does it? Can we fit a heat exchanger? Oh, we can. We can. I think maybe this way. Oh, it's gonna. Oh shoot! It's gonna. I think we'll put it here. Oh, it's facing the right way. We're gonna bulldoze some of these houses. It's a news flash for you. We gotta break some eggs to make an omelet. All right. And this is just like, this is building the heat plant, right? Nothing to do with the heat plant, but this is the game. You're planning everything. This is the fun of it. That's as close as you can get. We hit a house. Ain't really nothing else there. A very warm house. We got the best house in the block. Look at this, these people will never get cold. I don't know if you have low coal or something, or if you can have low heat, if there's gradients to it, that if you're low supply, that it ambiently, permeates through the ground, that, maybe these houses are warm and the others aren't. See, look, they're complaining. But it's spring, so, and the population is just going to go down. So you start off in a situation where everyone's fleeing Los Angeles, but by next winter they'll have heat. From what I understand of the apartments, when you do the tall buildings, they don't even heat themselves. So you have to build this first before you can build apartments. Let's get an underground line to the heat. Yeah. So when you do the heat, there are small pipes, and so they do 100-meter cube per hour. And then there's the big ones, which we're using. They're 300-meter cube. And the above ground and below ground. I believe the below ground ones are more expensive, but they give you way more space. And we're in the middle of the city distributing heat. It doesn't really stand to reason that you would ever do above ground. I think there's a lot of logic to doing underground heating systems. Like, even if it's not directly needed, it's just ambiently heating the ground, which isn't as inefficient as, heating. Like the heated ground has other benefits. You might not have to plow the sidewalk. You might have to plow the streets, right? So there's some logic to doing geothermal, network heating systems. And I never even really thought of that until I actually played this game. So, hats off to the developers who figured out how this worked. And I don't know if they were trying to make this like a difficult mechanic to play with, just to make the game even more challenging, or if whoever thought. I imagine this wasn't in the first iteration of the game, but whoever thought of this is like a genius. Like, this is genius stuff. So let's get this connected. Let's do the underground. I don't think it simulates that in the game, though. It doesn't affect like snow plowing, and there is snow plowing in this game. Like, that there is winter. If you don't clean your streets, the city will shut down pretty bad. So this is a race against winds. This is kind of like Minecraft here. If there's another game that I could say this has that element of, it's that Minecraft vibe. That there's something coming and you got to prepare for it. And if you don't, you will lose the game. We've got to go to underground view. So much like many other games, there is an underground view. We want nice, I think it lowers the work days. Yeah, the more bent it is, the less work days. It's interesting. Okay, so these are all planned. And as mentioned before, when you lay a lot of stuff out, it's in blueprint mode. Things like track go into blueprint mode. All the plumbing, heat, water, and sewage, they're all in blueprint mode. If you start playing this game at first, you just have to click, this. You can spend rubles and it'll just build it. Or you can spend dollars. But in realistic mode, it has to be built manually. There's no, a quick way to do this. So there's no really alternatives to how this route's going to work. So that's queued up, and this will be one of the highest priority things. So this is a construction project now, and much like the heat factory, or the heating plant, we need to send resources to it to build this. And this actually just reminds me of another machine that is very handy. So if we look at our construction office, now I believe you can eventually build this without an excavator. It's much slower. I'm just looking for our vehicles. So we bought them earlier, but I think they're en route. I don't know where they are. So here we go. So we have our open bed truck. We have a dumper on the way. We have a cement truck. We've got a bus. We got this thing because we wanted to bulldoze some roads. Yeah, we've got to buy ourselves, we don't have an excavator. Now, the thing with an excavator, unlike, see the dumper and the open haul truck, the reason I put them at the border here, once they get to their destination and start providing supplies, is when they have to pick up goods from Canada, get that lumber and get that gravel and whatever stuff. They get the rocks. Canada makes rocks. It's just right there. So they just pick it up and then they bring it into the city. But an excavator doesn't require, it's just a machine. So I'm thinking we should set up another construction office. And we get a few free ones. We built one already, but I think we get 5 to start. And remember, we're not going over the fiscal cliff this time. So we're going to use these free ones. What I think we could do here is we're going to have a construction office here. We're just going to do that. We knew we were going to have one here anyways for the workers. I think we'll build one in the city too. We got 5 free ones, but we need it for the workers here. And I don't know if I'll put an excavator in this one, but I think we'll get some gravel from here. That's for sure. That's a little cheesy. I don't know if they even use this. It doesn't look too stupid. That's the Brento Compliment. You don't look too stupid. That is a compliment. That is saying, it's like saying you're less fat. Less fat. That's a compliment. I'm less fat than I usually am. Right. Yeah. Eventually we'll get rid of this. We'll build a real one later. But this will be the China one. And just like the other one, specify your source. Realistic mode, you have to do this to start. You can't get anything, and you don't make anything. You got to get it all from China. So we're gonna get a cheap ass gravel. You need a lot of gravel. Gravel used for almost everything. So when you take loans in rubles, the interest rate's 2%. But the greedy capitalists, they want 2.8%. So if you need to borrow US dollars, which you would have to in this version, you're again, basic economics. Interest is not real money. It's not real economy. It's you can't really declare interest as something in the GDP. I would assume it's not included. Like if it's included in GDP, then GDP is just a baloney statistic. I don't think it is because it's not real wealth. It's just it's kind of like a penalty. Like I was saying, I think a great way to improve the way banks work would be you pay interest until you've paid off the capital, and the interest is kind of viewed as your insurance in case it doesn't it doesn't finish. So let's say you buy half of a house, a $100,000 house. You put $50,000 towards the house and $20,000 in interest. Let's say, depending on the intervals. If let's say you can't finish paying it off, you only own 50% of the house, even though you paid 70%, and that's the interest of the lender. The 20% that lets you. That's their risk. So they get 20% more than they ought to get. That's what interest should be. But my belief is that once you get up to a certain point and you pay it off, that once you've got 90% of it paid off, the actual risk is very low. And technically, so what I think the better way of doing it is, once you've paid off enough of the principal plus that interest, that you've just paid it off. That's in a way, like in a socialist society, if you wanted to have a nationalized bank where there is no such thing as profit in that sense, you would just say, okay, even in a socialist system, that makes more sense because you got to have, you can't just have people in your society borrowing money and doing stupid things and then failing halfway through, right? There needs to be penalties for that. You'll go off the fiscal cliff. But likewise, if they do successfully do it, you shouldn't be charging them like they contributed to society. They added something new. So the interest, so let's say you paid down 70% of your, in this example, $70,000 of the principal, and then you've paid $30,000 in interest at that point. The best way is to just say, okay, you paid it off, you own it now. You just had to get 70% of the way there. But because you're consistently always, every year, you're making your mortgage payment on time, okay, you own the house. Because that would be fair, because in a nationalized banking system, obviously in modern banks, that's not how it works. They want a little more, just what's fair, right? You can't be the banks can't be too greedy either, right? You can't. There's a cost having to repossess things, and if socialism were in charge of the banks, I think that's how I would do it. Anyways, back on topic here. We've got a construction office here. We're going to have to get ourselves a bus. And we'll get one just like we did before. I think it was it's the newer one, right? If we get the newer one, it's got to be better. It's got more kilowatts too. Same speed. So yeah, this is a good starter bus, I think. We need workers. We need a dumper. Let's get the same dumper as before. Let's just do this quick. Another one of those. Might want to grab even another, but we'll leave an empty slot there. So the main thing is this gets cheap aggregate and cheap and just workers. So we're taking advantage of our other work base here. We should probably set one up for Mexico as well. And the reason I put them really close, I'll put it really close to the border, is because when you upgrade the roads, you can't. That last segment requires another custom office to deliver the materials, because it can't get the materials from its own custom office. So it blocks itself. So I typically just leave it gravel up close, but I want it to convert to asphalt as fast as possible. Set this to there, obviously, and again, it's always the immigrants. You need they are one of the biggest things in the game. Like without immigrants, your economy is not going to do well. I don't know about a machine just yet. So that's 3 of our free ones. We could put another one at the other one. Those workers are a little far, but I want one in the city. Yeah, this is temporary. So this one, and this one also will be very. You get from here. You got an idea for this? I'm thinking Russia. Probably will be Russia. I got a lot of these. No, maybe we'll just make it Russia. I don't see what else this could be. It's a major country. Call this Russia. This is where Soviet Republic is supposed to be. So it probably makes sense to call it Russia. Do we need a bus for workers here? I don't know. I want to see if we can get away with anything. Another thing that another type of vehicle are these road cranes. They don't. The excavators and the road cranes don't go to the borders to get materials. So this construction office is this is the Los Angeles construction office. And eventually, this could become the main construction office of the city. Like there'll be 24 machines here, because eventually you can start producing some of the materials in the city and the surrounding areas. So your vehicles will automatically go and work on projects by scanning the area around them. But road depots, it's just a place where you put your vehicles. So I bought a garbage truck that I'm not going to use right away. So what I want to do is I want to send it to this road depot, right? And I also like to have one of these in the game somewhere that's not too difficult to access, because sometimes you have a few too many vehicles and you just need to, in real time, when we're always running in real time, you just need to send it somewhere quick. And you'll see later when We have like a vehicle that, like, let's say we need to add a different type of construction vehicle quickly because we need it to finish. We need a crane for something, but there's no room in the construction office. So you just quickly. I like to have these little buffers. So I like to keep them sort of scattered throughout the map, just in different areas. These are the free dumps from the first episode, and they might be moved later, but the full dump, the main dump over here. But we want to throw one down here too, right? Let's keep it out of the way of this train station. Well, that's how I operate. I don't typically play 5 games at once. At any given time, I'm playing a game and I focus on it for months, and then I'm sick of it and I'll play something else. We'll play Tropico or something in the next series. I hear Tropico 7 is something. I heard in like 2026, but we'll see. You know, that's a very fun. That's a fun game. It's not as complicated as this game, but it's fun. It's stupid too. It's very stupid how the things you do to stay in power. It's silly, and strangely enough, a lot of you see it in a lot of actual governments. It's like the developers of Tropico secretly control the world. I swear to God, there's some elements to it that are so specific. Let's make a quick road here. Just the workers will need to get to work, and this will have to be a paved road at some point too, because this is kind of an important function. I think we can set up a bus station now. How involved is our bus system going to be? How long is it going to last us? I think maybe, you know what? Maybe 2 bus stops, I'm thinking. Bus stops, once we set routes they can move people around. Now you can get them directly from the buildings, but when you have these little houses, it's just not efficient. Usually if we just have a bus stop around there and we put a bunch of buildings around it, we'll just go over to the bus stop. So bus stops, so if we can see here, this has room for 200 workers, the basic one. We can get a free one for 100 workers. Mind you, bus stops aren't very expensive. You really got to plan it out. Like, it's not just what you see now, but what's your long-term plan for your city? Like where you're going to build your rail lines and whatnot, right? I think we might want to put a permanent one. Like the worst case scenario is no one uses it. Like it becomes kind of obsolete on the subway. Best case scenario is it's a critical source for workers. I don't want to go too into this. So we got one here. So another thing to do here too is when you select these buildings, you got this little icon here, and that's the distance they'll walk to get to the bus stop. So this bus stop, I didn't build it because it's for getting workers. It's for getting to work. This is the drop-off spot. You got pick up a lot of people. You got a lot of people. You got a lot of money. All right. You got to fit it in here. But again, other things need to go in the core of the city. Just giving them a bar and a mall and a church, they might show up for work. That's enough, maybe, you know. And that's the Tropico. Like that's where it's similar to Tropico, this game, in that they want things. They're not just mindless vessels. But it's different than like Captain of Industry, where like from what I haven't actually played Captain of Industry, but I've had a friend show me a walkthrough of it, and it doesn't seem to be as people focused. Like it's just, I think they get houses, if I'm not mistaken, and they do have some needs, like they have health needs, but this is like the amount of stuff, and I'll tell you though, it's similar to Tropico. What the people do is what drives you craziest. It's not I'm having issues with the supply chain. It's just the way people behave is the number one issue. So getting them to work. This isn't a bad spot. Actually, right there. As I babble, I think that's a good spot. And then we could put ourselves, because that gets a lot of workers. Like that's a good chunk of the city. These people might end up getting a job doing something else. I don't know. You might put a university or something over here. That's another episode. Education. It's like you need to do everything. You can't just. It's so unfriendly, this game. In realistic mode, if there's like, you can have a single car stuck at an intersection, collapse your civilization. So in that sense, it's even harder than reality to make this work. You gotta be really on it. And that's a little, that said though, the way the traffic works, I think it's a little bit more efficient than City Skylines. Like I noticed in City Skylines, last time I played it, vehicles passing, like it seemed like they never passed, and it drove me crazy. I think that's a good spot for a bus stop. This is we'll get a lot of workers. We could maybe throw another one. Like, and it's also good, like having things overlap a bit. It's never really a bad thing. Like even if this overlaps some of the workers, you're getting a bunch here. And the other reason I like this spot is there's not really much else. Like just given the natural flow of things, this is buses might want to go. You might want to go this way with the bus. You want to go this way, and you want to have turnarounds and stuff. So I like this little loop here. When Comrade Trump, we're gonna take over. We're gonna put some statues of Trump up, or Lenin or whatever. It's and they use Lenin in this game, but in modern society, well, they would probably go at Trump. Anyways, what I would next want to do, I think that's enough workers, and that has to finish. So we can't get workers from there until it's finished building. I'm tempted to build another bus station here, but you know what? I think we can worry about that later. I don't know enough about the future, what's going to happen in this district. Anything could go there. You could put a swimming pool. You could put there's stadiums in this game. Take a look at this here. There are crazy things in this. Look how big this is. It's massive. It actually fits in the city. We'd probably put it a little outside, but maybe we could. Maybe put a stadium in the Dodger Stadium. But and that's they want their sports, and I don't know, like that's like the sports enjoyment, I guess. All right, I can see again. Okay, we got our heat system in place. We got various construction offices. We bought ourselves. Oh, one other thing is our vehicles some of them can be transported. You know what? I think. Yeah, can we see this? Oh, there we go. Show vehicles able. So this is our excavator. Once you start playing, it's going to drive to the base, and it will start digging our heat system. But these vehicles, okay, so we already have one of these. They can transport these. So SKD 706 RTTN. They have very similar names, so you gotta be careful that you don't get the wrong one. So when you go buy them, you go to open hull. See, they're very similar in name, right? But only this one here can transport so since this is where the excavator is, I want a vehicle that can also move it around, because the excavator is very slow to get to its locations. And these are just good trucks. Like open haul trucks are fairly decent. I'd say the dumper is like their number one vehicle. Concrete or the cement mixer, strangely you don't need them that much. Like one or two can be an amazing amount of work, but dumpers and open haul seem to be your bread and butter vehicle. And of course, the buses. Okay, so we ordered that. Another thing too, with construction offices, so what they do is they automatically just build things. Like they'll, once you have your machines, they look for work to do. So you can assign work. So I can go like this. Let's say assign it. Or is it? It's underground here. You gotta go underground. Click. So it's going to use that excavator. It doesn't have any workers, but it will deliver an excavator to that site, and that will speed up the construction. So you can actually build that without, like I say, you can build it without machinery, but it's very slow. The construction offices themselves have like a scanning range, so they'll automatically build things. So if you go here, you can see, you hover over it. So this construction office will automatically look for projects in that range. But given how far on this side of the map it is, I'm going to say go a little further. We don't really have anything going on here, except maybe this here, this oil jack. I might see it reaches that. So this will just start automatically at some point building my oil supply. Because we got a drill baby drill, and that will make money. So that's how it works. But you don't want to necessarily scan for infinite distance, because what happens is, if you the furthest you go is 3,500 meters. So like, let's say it finds a project over here, and it's just going back and forth from a bus stop here to deliver workers. That's inefficient. That's poor. It's a poor economy. So I usually like to keep them under 2,000 meters. 1,000 meters preferred, but initially I'd rather be inefficient and reliable than efficient and oops, the pump jack didn't get built. Now we're off over the fiscal cliff, and we gotta cut all services. We built too many freeways, so I'd rather not risk it. I keep 2,000 meters like the sweet spot. So I also want to set, while we're here, we'll set this one to 2,000 meters. See what that reaches. Oh my god, we barely can get anything here. Now let's go to 3,000. But that's not inefficient, because every single thing has to, like, this construction office is buying stuff from Canada. So we don't make anything in Los Angeles, so we have to buy from Canada anyway. So it will immediately be able to launch its projects and just grab the lumber or whatever and go right to the site. It's a one-way trip. There's no, like this one, for example, let's say, because there is going to be an open haul truck here, it has to drive all the way over here to get the goods to start the work. And again, I did that one. The intent of this construction office isn't for that purpose. It's because this construction office has, in theory, I'm going to put a bunch of machinery here. I'm thinking maybe a bulldozer. Yeah, so these I found were very nice for building roads. So I think I've looked at these before. I think the Stalinek one is the better model. So you see the bulldozer, there's a speed level 22. This one has speed level 28, and that goes 20 kilometers an hour. This goes 20, so the price difference isn't much. And again, if I have an open haul truck here, I'm pretty sure this will go on the open haul truck. So the machines here aren't going to go to the borders to get goods. So I'm not going to go buy the gravel specifically. That's not the intent of this construction office. This one's for its support. So it kind of when the workers arrive to do the construction, it speeds up the construction itself, so that instead of this, like this project here, if we click on it, it has 344 work days, and it needs these materials to finish. So we have to have this finished before November, and it's already February, so we're in a bit of trouble. Plus, we got to build the heat plant. Now, I'm not saying people aren't going to die in this map, and they don't all die in the first winter. There'll just be a few, but it's definitely, like, again, this is a starter video. If you're going to play on realistic mode, you kind of have to work on this building right away. This is maybe I could have built it closer to it. I believe the heat plant's going to be much worse, 678 days. But we're going to put machines there to multiply it, and these are work days. So 678 workers. If I have 67 workers, that'll only take 10 days. So we're going to really focus on these. I think we can get these built by winter, but if not, by next winter, and 10% of the people will be complaining less. Yeah, we can't quite hit play yet because we need one more building. So we've got our workers, and you'll notice I never chose the workers from here yet. This is eventually when I choose the worker source. This will, I want to get them from this bus station, but the bus station has to be built first, so other workers have to build it. There was one other one I wanted. I wanted to build a crane. So these really accelerate building times. Like, you see the levels of these things? I think that's kind of like the multiplier. That if you take one worker's work day, it becomes 50 work days with one of these. So this is what we're going to need. Gotta know if this fits on the truck. And see if there's any, tower cranes. So it looks like they all can go on here. So this is what we need. This guy has to be added to the construction office too. But this is another thing, okay? So I wish I knew this when I first started playing this, but the cranes, the tower cranes, are not available. You can't buy them at the construction offices. See, there's no tower crane. You gotta pay for them and then manually ship them. I think I'm going to err on the side of caution and grab that one. I'm going to hit play for a second because I want to demonstrate something. So you have this open haul truck, and we have this parking lot. In order to, so that the other open haul truck is going to the other construction station, and it would be nice if I would have hauled this bulldozer, because this thing's gonna not be best for traffic, but I'm gonna put it in the parking lot here, that emergency depot, because what I need to do is I need to manually set up a route here, and you can only do that from vehicles that are in the depot here, or in just the road depot. So when you put your vehicles in the construction office, they go around, they do things automatically. But when you put them in the depot, you control things. This is, until you get to distribution depots, this is how you set your routes for vehicles. So first I tell it to go here, and a bit of a trick is, like, I'll let it play out just so you can see how it works. So it parks first, and now when it's in the parking lot, I can create a route for it. So I'm going to say go here and load stuff. And that crane I just built, the crane has no wheels. It can't move. I need this truck to do this. And I'm going to take it, and we're going to go to here and drop it off. And then if I catch it, see if I don't stop it in time, it's going to pick it up, drop it off, and go back to the depot. But then once it drops it off, I want to also reassign this vehicle to that. And then you have to hit start. And again, realistic mode, you don't have to go into this kind of detail. This is you might have even finished the tutorials and you're in the campaign and you're watching this because you're like, oh crap, how do I get stuff? That's in that tower one. I tell you that was one that I don't know if I even found that one. I think I might have. Like once you realize that there's those vehicles at the custom house, that's such a big thing. Like I played so many hours. So the last bit of infrastructure we need planned out here before we start building things, and we'll set a priority to it, is electricity, because almost every building, like any kind of factory kind of building, like a seat plant, factories, maybe not bus stops, but a lot of things require electricity. So I think we're going to get it from Canada just because they got that. They can deliver a lot of power because of the size of this. So just in general, there's high. If you're looking at this game, you can skip over this a little bit if you're familiar with the high voltage, low voltage transformation. But just in general, you have high voltage power lines that will, carry a certain capacity of electricity, and the higher capacity, the more expensive they're going to be. So what we're going to do to get electricity initially is we're going to import. And as far as I know, there's no reason to say no to max unless you're on a strict budget, because the grid only draws the electricity you actually need. So if we're just running a couple of factories that are using less than maybe a quarter megawatt or something like that, that's all it will draw, even though you're saying, I'll take up to 18, right? One thing in realistic mode, and this is very important if you're setting up your power network, this is done in real time. So if you lose electricity in your city in the future, you lose your city. Your city's done for. You can't do anything. That's one of those examples of where socialism really does exist, whether you're aware of it or not. Okay, that there are certain things that are not controlled by banks, that they don't choose to shut down whole cities. Something to think about a little bit. But in the game, it is game over. If you lose your electricity, these are the guys that call the shots on the bankers. They say, you're not doing that because you're going to kill everyone. And if you lose electricity, and if you saw the first episode, because I went over the fiscal cliff, I didn't have enough money to buy electricity from Canada, so I couldn't produce anything. I couldn't produce heat. The hospitals couldn't run, and everyone slowly died, bankrupt and freezes. They get cold, then they get sick, and then they die. So you never want to lose electricity. So the reason I'm emphasizing this a lot is, although it's tempting to go with the cheapest power lines here, you never ever want to change this power line. As far as I know, given that type, I want to match it with that type of power line. That oh, beautiful! We got the highest capacity default one. Oh, this is such a good random spawn that we got. So this can never go down, and I honestly, at least initially, we will eventually add other power lines, but this is going to be kind of our backbone, and I don't think it's going to ever change. So you have your high voltage, and you want to bring it to areas where you need electricity. But I think it's around here we're going to start seeing things built. So what I like to do next is, when I run the power lines, is have a big high voltage array. So these are your mixers. So I wish you had a few more options. These mix 3 lines into one. These will let you choose, combine all inputs and then reassign outputs. Given that the network kind of automatically draws what it needs anyways, I don't really see the benefit. So at some point, we're going to have alternative sources of power, just in case one of the main lines go down. You want to have redundancies. The way Texas does electricity and being independent, that's silly. Like, unless it's insanely expensive, because you get a blizzard and you get overloaded, you're going to have problems. But again, that's a privately owned. As far as I'm concerned, that's a scam. Like, the people behind that they're not serving the interests of the public, and you never want the city to go down, because everyone loses. Like, if you're a private utility company, you take down the city, they're gonna take you down very fast. The city is much more than a company. The city is a big deal. Like, imagine, Dallas and Houston with no electricity for a day. You're not going to be the top company after that. But for that reason, you want to have, I believe, this 6-way merger will never, ever, ever be replaced. We might run out of money, and we can't buy electricity from Canada. So in the future, what we need is a way to replace this without having to swap the line. So then all we got to do is attach another power plant around here. Could be a garbage incinerator. Maybe we'll import some coal and make our own. But the point is, you want to have, you don't want to have to add the splits later. So it's a little expensive up front, but that's kind of nice. This is one of these things you don't want to upgrade. So now the main line from Canada is going much closer. And then we have the option. We could bring the Mexico line in here. We could add a power plant here, and then we can split in various segments. Okay, and then we could feed this into the smart splitter, right? So then one of these inputs could go in here, and then you could set priorities based on any electrical problems you have in the future. But getting that in place is your high voltage line, and then afterwards you need these things, and there's only one of them. As far as I know, there's only one. So power transformers step down the voltage from high voltage, and if we zoom in a bit here, you see the size of those, those hazard signs or whatever you want to call them. There's the big one and the low ones. So if you haven't played the game before, that's how you go from high voltage to low voltage, and that's what you need. Buildings can't run off high voltage, but because you saw how there was load limits on these here, like this one's 15 megawatts, 13, 10, probably noticed as I was going over, you can't get enough electricity in low watt. Like, you have a whole bunch of power, parallel medium voltage lines in order to get that kind of output, like to get enough current through it. The transformers don't require water, workers, or anything, so these can be well outside the city. And I think I would suggest the best practice in this is you want to put these kind of surrounding the city, and you want to put them close enough together that they're kind of redundant, because each one of the medium voltage lines can be overloaded. If this is too concentrated, in electrical demand, if Los Angeles is drawing too much electricity, it will have brownouts, and you don't want that. So, and buildings will just stop operating when you have brownouts, and that costs money. That is, it's the biggest waste of money you can make. It's when something as simple as not having enough transformers. So, we'll lay a few out here. We want to make sure our heat power plant is going to be reasonably close to it. Before we do that, one last thing, final bit of light. To get the electricity to the building, it doesn't just have to go through the transformer. It has to go through a substation. And this is what gives electricity to everything. So at this point, if you've played other games like City Skylines, you kind of, it's a little bit more manual. Here it's actually a little nicer. You just got to get in range, and they kind of figure it out themselves, okay? But there's no leeway. You still got to, and there's capacity issues. So if I put one of these and go, oh great, we got all the power. Just need to put one electric substation, all of the city of Los Angeles, and there'll never be an electrical problem. Well, the problem is at the medium voltage lines is your highest capacity is a 2.3 megawatt line, and that's not even going to power like the stuff that you see on that's already built. The a megawatt hour, to calculate the actual megawatts for megawatt hours, you don't divide by 24 to get the actual megawatts. You divide by 60, of course, because that's just how this game works. It's the Soviet Republic. There's a lot of weird things in this game. So there's 60-hour days. Okay, I don't know. So so it says 7.6 megawatt hours. So roughly, let's say 76. You divide by 76. That means that will use a point of 1 megawatt, right? Roughly. So we'll replace the power transformer first. This is a big thing. I like to put the big things in. You got to leave a little bit of clearance around the power transformers, and it's good to have redundancy with these. You want, because these things also blow up. I know these things break. They randomly, you lose your electricity, and your city a big segment goes down. So I think this one, a fully redundant version of this, makes sense. Yeah, I think the grid was ineffective here. If it goes on the grid, you need to really squeeze in. See how that works. Now let's see if we can get some lines going. Oh, yes, very nice. You need a bit of clearance with these. This here. And once you get on it, you can run along these sidewalks and stuff. This can go into this quadrant. And this will be a fully redundant one. So now we're going to build our electric substations. This is a backup. Later on, I'm going to have a separate substation connected to the heat plant. But right now, this will be the only thing kind of drawing electricity from it. So this is the redundant one. We'll build the redundant one first in case there are power issues. Okay, so that doesn't get it, that gets it. All right, so let's just double check. See, you hover over it, view electric connections. So that will get electricity, and all we need to do is, and I generally like to go with the bigger lines here. As far as I know, other than saving money, there's, you tell me, as far as I can see, there's, I don't know if it's really worth it, because when you have to replace a line later, it's not easy. So I'd like to go with the slightly oversized ones. I don't know what we're going to put in this area. This could be like on-ramps and stuff, right? Right there. And then there we go. So it's all been blueprinted. You get start on that. And we'll assign a construction office to it. Yoink. This is high priority stuff. And like electrical is high priority. You Nothing works without electricity in this game. Like even there's the free gas stations. We'll do that in the next episode, but even gas stations require electricity. We need to create a line now to get into there. Now we should probably do another splitter here, to be honest. It's better to have more splitters than not enough. We'll give it a dirt road because we're super cheap. You don't even pay for rocks. So we've got a line here that goes into the high voltage line here, which then splits here. And we're gonna go around the city, and obviously we'll run lines this way later, but we're just getting started. This is how electricity works, okay? This is a redundant line. Remember, if this one breaks, it's not a big deal, but at the same time, we could have a lot of buildings here. In the first game I played, that was a mistake of mine. I went too low gauge on the wires, and later I regretted it. Let's just go 15. Like, I don't want to have to ever think about this later. I just never want to think about it. And if it's going to be that much in, it must be that much here. We might not even have to think about electricity for a very long time with this setup. The nice thing about the blueprint mode is you can preview what you're about to build. See what it looks like first. It looks nice. Sometimes they'll like build right beside each other. And like you'll have one and another. I think that uses a little bit more resources than you need. So this is our grid. And one last bit. The way the power lines get built, you have to build the transformers and the electric substations to reach the other lines. So any of these and these transfer switches here, you can't. The workers go to these buildings here, and then they build the line from there. So you'll see them. This is kind of like their destination when we start working on these lines. But if I finish the substation first, I think they can get in that way. So that's how they access it. So, and one last tip is road cranes are really nice. None of our highways go over 60 anyway, so I think we'll go with the cheap one, the V3S, sorry. I guess that's episode 2. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.